Evening, wherever you are watching this today. My name is Angel Szalonek, and I'm with SportsFaith Media. And I want to share a very interesting subject that we've not talked about in sports before, and that is chaplaincy. And today we're going to talk about a little bit of what it's like to be a chaplain. And though we're not taking somebody from the chaplaincy area of sports, I do have a beautiful lady here that I met several years ago when I first started working with SportsFaith. And her name is Marcia Jones Washington. She is a chaplain herself, and I want to have her tell us a little bit about it. But like I said, if you're looking at this from sports perspective, she doesn't do that. But we're going to be talking over a wide range of different types of chaplain around the globe. And chaplains serve such an amazing thing. Welcome, Marcia. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me to take part in this. God bless you. And I'm very happy to be here. And I just want to say real quick, I've taken off my glasses only because of the glare. It is not for vanity reasons, but the glare was a bit distracting. So yeah, just glad to be here today. Thank you.
So what I wanted to ask you, and you and I had a wonderful conversation. I feel like every time we get on the phone, we just have some amazing center around God, and we pray together. You're one of my favorite people. I have to let you know that. But I want to talk a little bit about chaplaincy. And last year, I was able to attend a Women of Chaplaincy conference in Pennsylvania, and I absolutely loved it. It was near Harrisburg. We were out in the middle of these beautiful woods, and despite the rain, we still had a beautiful time. Learning so many different things about women of faith around the globe. So chaplaincy, when I think about chaplaincy, I grew up watching MASH, the old show MASH. And I love Father Mulcahy. He was my favorite character. He always managed to make the situation calmer. He'd fix things or whatever. And he was an amazing man. And he had to play through a lot of different representations of faith. So the chaplaincy is a word that we talk about. We think about hospitals, maybe police departments. But please tell me, so what is chaplaincy? And tell me a little bit about what you do.
Yes, yeah, you're right. In terms of chaplaincy, sometimes people do just think of it in terms of maybe hospital chaplains or even military chaplains. But after I had gone back to school and gotten my master's degree, I was maybe around 55 at the time. But once I did that, I actually took some additional training as well. There was like a week of training I did through an organization. But one of the best definitions I heard of a chaplain was said there when the person shared that a chaplain is a minister in the community. And I really liked that because I think for most of us that have gone into chaplaincy, a lot of us, it is because we didn't see ourselves, we wanted to be in ministry, but we didn't see ourselves as being in a church or behind a pulpit. And so chaplaincy gives us that outlet to be ministers in the community, whatever type of community that might be. Maybe it is in a hospital community. For me, I was a hospice chaplain for several years, but again, you can also be a chaplain in sports. They have the different sports teams have their chaplains, and colleges, universities have chaplains there. A lot of senior facilities have their own chaplains. So there are really chaplains in so many wide ranges of areas or environments. And so it's one of the attractive things I like about being a chaplain. How I got into it, aside from believing it was what the Lord was leading me to, because I had gone back to school at a later age. I know when I was around 50, I went back to Geneva College because there were a couple courses there I needed to finish up to earn my bachelor's. And once I did that, I did just feel in my spirit like God was saying, keep going. And I thought, okay. And again, I have that question, like, I don't even know what I'm going to do with the bachelor's in community ministry, let alone if I keep going, what am I getting the degree in, and what will I be doing with that? But long story short, I ended up finding out that Loyola University Chicago had a Master's of Arts in Pastoral Studies. And so I did that online from here in the Pittsburgh area. Once I earned that, or by that time, the seed was already planted about chaplaincy, because my mom near the end of her life when she was at a senior facility, but she had needed to go on hospice for like that last week or so of her life. And it was there that this hospice chaplain, would come in and check on us and see if there was anything I wanted to talk about. And then he'd offer to pray with us before he left. And, at that point I was thinking, maybe this is something I could do. It was like the light bulb going off. And so by the time I earned my Master's of Arts through Loyola, I did know that was something that I was going to pursue. But my background is in admin assistant and receptionist, that type of thing. So I still even had to do a few more years of that before I did secure my first chaplain position. So just a long about way of answering that question, I guess.
No, I love it because it's interesting. Like I said, even thinking about Father Mulcahy, he was a Catholic priest, and he had to deal with Jewish, and he had to deal with some of the different denominations that we all know, but also dealing with those who are atheists. Tell me a little bit about your experience. You and I talked about this when we were at the retreat last year. When you are a certain faith, just interdenominational, it's easier, but when you have to branch out these, how do you handle those situations?
Well, that's it. My feeling is that, myself as a Christian, my Christian beliefs are what inform my interactions with people, what informs my conduct. And so for me, in terms of knowing that as an ambassador of Christ, I should have that kind of understanding of other people in terms of a willingness to hear people out. And, and that's the thing in this modern age, there are people that not only are they not of my particular faith background, they are of no particular faith background. They're called nuns, N-O-N-E-S, because they have no particular affiliation. So you really have to be able to have that openness and, like I said, hear people out. And again, as a Christian, there are those times if I see an opportunity to plant a seed in terms of my Christian faith, or if someone even asks me, what is it about Christianity that makes you want to follow that? Well, then I have that open door to, freely tell them. But it really shouldn't be a thing of trying to push your beliefs on someone else or make them believe a certain thing. Like I said, your faith should inform your conduct and how you carry yourself throughout the world.
I agree. I mean, but anyway, so I have one more quick questions here. Now, you tell me about your group. You have a wonderful group of lady chaplains, and there's men and women, but in your group, you kind of do things together. You have an online meeting, you bring in guests. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, I started PA Women of Chaplaincy and Pastoral Care in 2022. So we just had our 2-year anniversary. And this is just a way, because there aren't a lot of female chaplains out there, or women chaplains. This is a way for us to connect. A few years ago when I was having our first in-person chaplaincy conference, doing a little research, I found out there's about 32%, maybe 34% of chaplains out of the 9,200 in the U.S. that are women. And so I thought, that's maybe a little over a third, but it's not like we're all in one place, or, that's 32% or whatever throughout the United States. And so when I started PA Women of Chaplaincy and Pastoral Care, that was just a way of trying to connect some of us together and, online. And then later I thought too, well, PA is the abbreviation for Pennsylvania, but I thought meeting online, they can really meet from anywhere. And so we have had some chaplains that have joined us from some other cities and other states. Sometimes it's just a factor of the time difference. We're in Eastern Standard Time, and I know with one person that was joining, she was saying at the time, with the time difference, it was coming in kind of during her time when she would be preparing dinner or what have you. So it just didn't work. But it's really open to anyone who wants to join us online, any woman that's in chaplaincy and wants to join us in line. And then we have the, like I said, in-person conference. We had our first one last year, which you attended, and you were one of the breakout session speakers. I so appreciated you coming in for that. But we have our second coming up September 14th, Saturday, September 14th. It's for one day, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 in the afternoon. And so I really do welcome women to join us. And they will need to register if interested, but it would be great to just see so many that say they found out about us through you and through this interview.
Well, good. Well, hopefully now she and I are not in the same area, obviously, but we're going to put into the comments when you see this, the link you said to the invitation. It is an open invitation. We love to have people come. It's very reasonable. It's a one-day conference, and she can even give you some information about where to stay. It is so worth the trip. I was so blessed by being with these women and spending time. She had a wonderful worship team that came and started off and gave us kind of set the tone for what we're going to be talking about. And as we got further into it, we became like sisters from other mothers. It was so amazing. It was funny because I would say half of the room was chaplains and half of them were people who are interested in knowing more about it. And
Yes.
one of the things you and I have talked about this before is when you get over the 50-yard line of life, as we say in sports, one of the things is we're responsible to share with the younger ones, not to preach at them necessarily, but to be that guidance to say, okay, I've been where you've been. I know where you're going. And even if you just teach in Sunday school or a Bible study group or even just leading, it is so wonderful to have other women in your circle that can help teach you how to be where you've been and not necessarily miss. And tell me one more thing before we go. I love you shared a story about somebody who was agitated, had a really bad day. And most of the people you meet in some of your circles they're agitated, they're having a hard day, there's something going on, and he didn't want to hear anything about God. How did you handle that situation? Share that story with me.
Oh, okay. Well, there have been just different situations where people, you know, a lot of times when I was a hospice chaplain and it would say, I want to arrange a meeting with you. And they would say, I'm not a religious person, you know, that sort of thing. And so there was one guy, he really didn't want to hear anything he said about religion, but he was into jazz and he thought, you know, if you can just come here and just pull up some jazz songs for me and, you know, we can talk about that. And I thought, hey, no problem. I enjoy jazz myself. Now, so, you know, I would pull up the jazz songs and he would tell me, you know, oh, that's Buddy Rich on that or Les Brown on this. And I'm, you know, okay. And, but there was one time when I said, you know, do you mind if we can maybe listen to a song that I like? And I said, no, it is by a gospel artist, but it has a lot of jazz flavor to it. And, he said, oh, okay, you know, okay. And so I pulled up this song, Doxology by Helen Baylor, and he's listening. And no, at any point, if he had said, I don't want to hear anymore, or no, that's okay, I would have stopped. But he, you know, was sort of listening. And then he said, and now who did you say this was? And he's like, this is really good. And so, you know, I just felt that was something that, you know, just one way of connecting with him. He liked jazz, so okay, we'll do jazz. But again, just opened the door, you know, with an opening to also share something by a gospel artist, and he seemed to appreciate it. So that worked out well. But yeah, it's really about serving that person that's in front of you. You really do have to make sure it's about them and not you.
Oh, I love that, serving those who are in front of you. And since Kent and I had that conversation, and so again, with Sports Faith, we share the gospel through sports, and you obviously share the gospel through your work. And I'm sure there's challenging times. But again, I want one more invitation. I want to share everybody about what we're going to be doing. Can you give the information, because in case they don't see it in the link below? What's the website?
Yes, the website is pawomenchaplains.net. So pawomenchaplains.net. And even if you Google PA Women Chaplains, or, you know, you'll find us. You'll find us. But yeah, we'd love to hear from people.
Well, and if you have any, you can email me too, since I'm going to be a guest this year. It's angel@sportsfaith.com. So angel@sportsfaith.com. We're so happy you came here today, Marcia. Thank you for being with us. Always a joy to be with you. You're one of my prayer buddies, and I'm so thankful that even though we live in different states and different time zones, different things going on, that we can come together. And I hope to see you all on September 14th in Pennsylvania. Mark that day. Just put on your, if nothing else, put a little heart on it and say, I'll be praying for Women of Chaplain and maybe for SportsFaith too. We also use your prayers as well. So thank you so much. We're honored you were here today. We'll talk to you soon.